Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, December 6th, 2021, and today's topic is called Another Cloud and Quotes Cruiser. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening November 29th through December 3rd, 2021. And this is an alternate cover slide. As always, I have a few. I'm not sure which one to go with. See which one you like the best out of these three. So this one's just called Sky Faced because there's actually some faces that are going to appear, and you'll see what I mean showing up in the show. And then I was toying with this one, Sky Idle, because this thing just was sitting there idly by, and really was only revealed with some enhancements. So it's very cool stuff. And before we get into the rest of the sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobronia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, galimera, guten dag, and good day. Now, today we've got not only the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page combined once again with the greetings from around the world, but really, I just want to focus on the starter image because we are looking toward effects of an artificial light source. We'll just say, we'll just call it the sun in quotes, through a Ficus lyrata tree. So I was literally up in this really tall tree, trimming it, and, looking up through the leaves, and it was just so glaringly obvious, pun intended, that this is an artificial white light source. This is not the warm, soft golden, or even a little bit more bolder color of gold that we would have in our normal original sun. Why am I saying this? There is tons of evidence all over the place now on YouTube with people directly observing these things all around the world. It's too conclusive now to even just speculate that there's artificial tech up in our sky obscuring our original sun. It's an artificial sun. I'm just calling it straight out. So why am I saying that? Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute to substantiate what I'm saying, and I'm going to direct you over to some excellent YouTube sites of other Earth and Skywatching channels that have really just nailed it, in my opinion, and done great analysis on what's going on, if this is a new concept to you. And if it's not a new concept to you, thank goodness you see it, and you still may want to look at some of the reference videos that I have coming up. In the meantime, I'm just showing what I caught myself back on November 23rd, and I'm just saying east-facing window at sunrise, flickering sun, in quotes, November 23rd, 2021, artificial sun, anyone? So why the heck should any of us start to see an artificial sun, that's actually showing evidence of flickering? Now, this is an east-facing window, as I've said. Keep in mind, it gets direct east light exposure, and there are no trees in front of it or anything that could be causing this effect. The window is shut. There's no way the blinds are moving back and forth. So what we're observing here is just that the sun is artificial, and it's self-adjusting or doing whatever. But here we go. We have it dimming and getting brighter, dimming, getting brighter, repeatedly. This went on for several minutes. And our natural sun does not do that whatsoever. So I've caught myself the flickering sun phenomenon. We also have that captured in videos coming up. Hang on, sorry, I'll let it play one more time. On the next page, I have about 7 videos that I want to send you to on YouTube. I don't have them linked. Just look at the titles and search and pull it up on your own. But these 7, to me, just, say it all. So here we go. We've got a couple by Naughty Beaver on YouTube, Jeff P., and The Final Days. And then I threw in one from New Mexico, and I'll tell you why in a second. So first and foremost, I am sending you over to these channels purely to see their direct observations. To me, they're all smoking guns, catching the smoke and mirrors, so to speak, in the act as far as what tech is being employed up in the skies. Also, in concert, in combination with, yes, the chemtrailing and all these different effects that are obscuring objects in the sky, and are also, why these things are happening. So I do want to send you over to these sites, but again, keep in mind, just look at it for the content of the direct observations. I'm not on board with all of the religious views and things of that nature exactly, and so that's why I just say kind of just ignore everybody's different take on religious, and even if you want, ignore the spiritual stuff. Just focus on the direct observations in the sky. Okay, so anyway, we've got 2 by Naughty Beaver. 1, if you're just listening to this, I'll say the titles out loud. Oops, they did it again. Epic Sun Simulator fail, Naughty Beaver from 3 years ago. Also check out from 3 years ago, Sun shuts off midday in Siberia for 3 hours. Naughty Beaver investigates. Then we have a couple by Jeff P. on YouTube. Fake Sun, NASA Sun Simulator now orbiting the Earth, Sun Halo, Artificial Sun, and it goes on. Another title by Jeff P. Cell phone captures 2 suns, Flickering Sun, Sun Simulator, Jeff P. Then we get into the Final Days channel, and she's absolutely nailing this evidence when she's got a couple. Actually, you could look at any of hers, even the recent ones, but the 2 that kind of popped out, one from 10 days ago, one from 4 months ago, are the Final Days surreal scenes from FAA weather cameras inbound planetary system, and it goes on. Another title, The Final Days, many different planets visible in the sky, FAA footage proof, and it goes on. Then the reason why I'm including this little excerpt from, not excerpt, but this little short clip from a news station, it's called Sunspot Solar Observatory Reopens After Mysterious Closure. Now, this was also 3 years ago. The YouTube channel is called KOAT. It's a news station. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is I first was tipped onto the idea that there is an artificial sun or tech up in the sky, let's just say, kind of blocking out the effects of our original sun. Really came glaringly obvious to me, again, literal pun intended, in 2018, but there has been a changeover where tech has kind of taken over, our original sun, basically hijacked it, probably around anywhere from 2014, 15, 16-ish. So, like the full conversion of it taking over. And it's very interesting. Once I first heard of this concept, I thought, oh man, this is just crazy. But then the more I thought about it, I did notice a direct difference in the sun. And I grew up in Florida, so I'm keenly aware, heightened awareness about the sun. It was everything to me growing up and living the majority of my life outside as a kid. And, just noticing these glaringly obvious changes now. It's very unsettling, especially if you love the sun as I do. And you definitely, even people who aren't really aware about this having happened yet, have told me, hey, I was at the beach the other day and I feel like I got microwave burned. I don't feel like a regular sunburn. So, this is a very real thing happening. Do take a look and start observing more and more again if the whole idea is new to you. And if not, let's just, I don't know what to hope for. I mean, I hope for our original sun. Now, there are ideas that maybe our original sun is dimming and somehow like being degraded. I think if that's the case, it's just regenerating itself, and that we don't really fully understand what the sun is, especially if you're of the mind that it's actually a portal. And people are looking at satellite and other instrumentation out in space and seeing that there are different like ships and craft, they call them diving into the sun divers, all this kind of stuff. If you just bother to look at some of the telescopes out in space, which a lot of YouTubers do, and they monitor them daily, thank goodness. So again, hats off to all of you out there who are doing direct observations and all of the special ways that you're doing it. So I'm just kind of bringing this to everyone's attention now because it's just literally, I'm going to go back one in my face. I'll play it again with this flickering sun. Now, I've observed this before, just haven't videotaped it or videoed it. But now, and I have actually longer footage where this thing is just going on and on and on. But anyway, and better examples. But it's happening. It's a real thing. Really start to pay attention, once again, if this is new to you. Okay, also, I just want to bring this up because, as I said, in 2018, it really caught my attention that this is what's going on. And then increasingly so since then. Actually even more and more like slamming in with heightened awareness in the last year. And so, again, I first kind of started getting inklings of this really consciously 3 years ago. And all that to say, I really like that with Naughty Beaver kicking it off. He's based in Canada. He started observing on the FAA cams, also with predictive programming in movies, so he references that too in here. And then what caught my attention, because again, for me, it really kicked off 2018 in July, I would say. And this happened just like 5 days after I got into the awareness about the solar simulator, artificial sun. And this was a main headline looking at the sun shuts off midday in Siberia for 3 hours. This did happen in July in 2018, and I remember seeing it vaguely on the news. I think I just saw it on YouTube. Somebody, posted something like this. And the sun, basically, like a flick of the switch, did go off in, out like in the sticks in Siberia for almost 3 hours. And, regular sun just doesn't do that. So this is where Naughty Beaver gets into that, little story about that. Then, just a couple months later, let's see, July, August, September, 2 months later, we have this whole bizarre sunspot solar observatory shutdown, if anybody recalls that. I remember that happening too, and I'm like, what the heck? So about 5 major solar telescopes shut down at the same time, especially at the Sunspot Solar Observatory in New Mexico. And they cleared off the whole hilltop. There's a U.S. post office there too. Like, the entire town up there was evacuated, barred off, albeit just loosely with some police line, do not cross tape. People went up there later with drones and stuff and said, hey, nothing's going on up here. And so what happened was, supposedly, and this is, absolutely, the media reporting is completely false on it, but they, said, a janitor had some inappropriate child content, if you know what I mean, on a laptop, and so they closed it down. Well, they closed this down for 10 to 14 days. Come on. There were, FBI and other, whatever specialty teams swarming this thing, and, they're going to blame it on a janitor with inappropriate content on the laptop. Yeah, I don't think so. Especially since the original story, you always got to look at how the stories change from the first initial report, and then suddenly, the tide changes and there's another official cover story. So the very first initial one, I remember this clearly, was, it's Chinese spies. That was the first thing was, there's Chinese espionage going on, we got to shut it down. Then magically, mysteriously, like the next second, that was scrubbed, and they came out with this janitor storyline. So whatever, believe what you want. I don't buy any of that for a minute. Now, what is really going on? Hard to say. But there was some footage that was captured on some of these solar telescopes that was released on YouTube by, again, regular YouTubers like myself or yourself would do, directly observing some things. And they caught like a double eclipse coming in rapid fire, one after the other, over the sun. And that was, pretty much scrubbed off the internet. So what's going on up there? What are they trying to hide? I think some of these other YouTubers, are onto it and have excellent documentation of what that is. There could be more involved, but let's just say, I think if you're in this community, if you found my channel, I think you have a hint of what might be going on. Now, as I say always, I'm not into any gloom and doom. I don't believe we are in end days. I believe that all of these are, yes, direct signs in the heavens telling us we are in a shifting of days. So a shifting of times. And I don't in any way think there's any gloom or doom. I fully support that we're going to go into a natural shift, and from like a 3D to a 5D situation, and that nobody is going to be harmed in the process. Now, if the Earth needs to regenerate, to refurbish itself, let's just say, and thrive and whatever as far as the terrain, maybe some things happen. Maybe there are some earthquakes or volcanoes, but I don't think it's going to be any catastrophic devastation. And if there is, I believe all of us will be, in interesting ways, let's just say, kind of shifted off the planet, still surviving in different ways, in different forms, but nothing like, it's going to be total death and destruction. So just keep that in mind. All right, I've said enough about this, but I do, as you can tell, probably feel strongly about this, that everybody, kind of wake up a bit and really observe the sun. That's all I'll say for now. Because again, I've said enough. Anyway, let's get into the sky observations portion of this show. Now, if you're new to this channel or returning, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it, and hope you see some fun things or things that inspire you. In the meantime, sorry, I'm a little all over the place today. I have a short window to record this, so I feel a little bit pressured to get it done. But anyway, if you're new returning, thank you for being here. And if you're returning, you may want to skip this bit for a couple minutes and join back in. If you're new, I'm just going to give a really quick intro of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So all I'm doing is going about my daily or nightly business and really observing the skies and documenting it with a camera phone, an old Android, and sharing it with you, because there's been so much happening in the sky, so many strange anomalies, just odd things going on in our skies. And a lot of us are too caught up in the rat race of 9 to 5 and not really looking up much anymore. And so luckily I can do that now kind of frequently during the day and really pay attention and share it with those who may not be able to. But all that to say, hey, start looking even just 2 to 5 minutes a day if you're not doing it already. Look up in the skies, 360 degrees all around you, and just really start noticing things. And if you do it daily, you start to notice patterns and things might start to really jump out at you. Anyway, do look at some of my previous shows just to get the gist, a better gist of what I'm doing. The lower right-hand corner, I always say strange cloud activity in quotes because I'm saying yes, cloud is implying that there is cloak and craft, there's artificial substance up here parading around to be cloud in many cases, and it is hiding or obscuring cloak and craft. And I have a lot of evidence of machine parts and things even sticking out of some of the stuff, so it's too conclusive in my mind to not just call it that and say what it is. Now, there's also other phenomena such as weird color signatures and shapes of different clouds and sky imprints that are very geometrical, very symmetrical. And so we'll get into that as well. I drop in some letters just to help me better focus and not lose sight of some things that I'm going to narrate in the photos. I do what's called enhancement. I take the original and then just edit attributes of the photo, such as color, saturation, brightness, and contrast, maybe color temperature, and that's it. And when I do that, a whole new world of information opens up, like here. So I'll, get to that in a minute. Okay, that's enough said for now, except, sorry, one more thing. When I talk about craft, I am saying that it's of ET origin, extraterrestrial or maybe interterrestrial origin. It's a whole nother story. But in no case do I think it's strictly just human-made. If there's any human involvement, it's definitely in collaboration with something far more advanced than what we have on this planet. Let's just say that. All right, so let's get into this. Oh, also, sorry, I drop in some letters. I may not touch on them all. Some photos are have more things going on than I could possibly get to, or even letter. So just keep that in mind too. I don't try to miss anything really big and obvious. If I do, it was totally unintentional. I narrate this on a laptop screen, which is a slightly bigger format than like a handheld phone per se. Something more in thumbnail format reveals a whole nother level of information when you look at it at that scale versus a bigger scale. So again, I recommend that if you have the luxury of doing this, if you have a laptop and a smaller handheld device, if you watch this show with them both running and just toggle your view up to one and down to the other as you go through, you're going to see two totally different sets of information, which is sometimes, very telling and very interesting to do it that way. All right, so let's just jump into the show now. This is just looking north-northwest in the morning, and I just noticed it just felt off. That's another thing. Sometimes I visually see things, and sometimes it just feels weird. So this is the one where it just felt strange. And with some enhancement we see, this is why it felt strange. We get a red, pink color burst here in the center, and do look at my description box below to see what could be generating that. Sometimes I sense it's just a local burst of energy coming from some type of cloak and craft in here, or it could be a bigger planetary object beyond. But again, look at the description box of what could be happening. This is very odd because we've got this red dead center. We got even violet off to the right and gold off to the left. And keep in mind, the sun is supposedly coming up in the morning here off to the right of the page toward the east. So this is something happening in its own little micro environment here. Also, we get this choppy, disturbed appearance, even to the naked eye. I'll go back one. It gets a little choppy and fuzzy, even though everything else is in focus. This is even to the naked eye. And what's going on there is what I call staccato cloud effect, or staccato cloud. And to me, that means that we've got cloak and craft above or in the area, either one bigger one or multiples, and they're generating electromagnetic wave activity or other types of wave frequencies to disturb the local atmosphere to help better cloak things. It also could be, oh, hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. It also could be just whatever's powering the power source for this craft just inherently is creating this disturbance in the sky, or it could be a combination of both, which I think is what's happening. Anyway, let's move along, but this is a very interesting display in a wide range of color for what should be in just one little given local scene. And also we start to make out these brighter, hot points in here, so that tells me those are probably craft, or either one craft or several different craft happening in there. And then look at this unusual shape. Oh, excuse me one second. Look at this unusual shape and the direction and momentum that it's moving, and it has like kind of like a cross-like form in there, so that would not happen in a natural cloud system. Anyway, lots of interesting stuff happening in here. Take a little longer look if you can on your own. I'm going to move forward now maybe to catch up a little on time. I don't want to make this video too long. Now, this is still looking north-northwest. Now, all I've done is just change the enhancement in a different way to get out what's going at the bottom. So one way I enhance it, it pulls out what's going on at the top. Now I want to see what's going on down here with the brightness turned up. And also look at C.2. We get this very interesting structure kind of coming down here off the left-hand side. Now, looking down here, we have some interesting patterning going on. I don't get it too much more, but this is one of those cases that I'm probably going to miss it on the bigger laptop format. I would see it on the lower, in a smaller scale on a handheld device. But we have something here too, like a little bit of a cross form happening off in the distance. That's not, normal cloud. Actually, this is like a triad, like a stick and then two coming down like this. So I think that is a standalone craft more that I look at it. Then we get this. This is a very interesting thing. It's looking like the top of a white sphere with some texture on the surface of it. Something else happening in here. So this is all very interesting, but in no case in a typical cloud form and movement across this area of the world. This is South Florida, where we usually always predictably had cumulus clouds moving steady across. Back in the day, being on this planet for decades, I've observed this. You would never have something coming diving down an angle, sharp angle here, while this is going up this way, while this is going up and doing something else. That just wouldn't happen. So that's why I also suspect that these are cloak and craft doing their own thing in the background. Okay, now this is looking southeast, and what caught my attention here was this ethereal, slightly ethereal white blue light. I've been observing now keenly, really heightened awareness in the last 3 years, and I just sense, and you start to see it emerging, this beautiful otherworldly light. And then there was like a little spherical shape on top of it. So once again, we're looking at a sunrise where this is a very different light quality than what's coming up and breaking the day. So we look to the right-hand side, and with enhancement, I see why this felt otherworldly. We've got some kind of structure popping up in here, and like a bright white point here, and then look at this, 1, 2, 3. We have almost equidistant spacing that looks like these are lights on something, like a different kind of craft has a different color signature as well. So I'm definitely saying there is craft cloaking up in here, for sure. Because this is not the sun, and there's that hole is not the sun. Okay, so now leaving the left the same to reference the original photo. Now to the right, I'm just enhancing it a little bit differently, trying to pull out different elements. I see very different color signatures, which chip me off and little trip it, the little, tripometer here that something's going on. And then look at this. If you follow my cursor, that's a triangular form, and it looks like it has like a little dome on top, so I'm calling that a cloak and craft standalone. And then look at this. This is like a T-bar, which again, you wouldn't have any structure popping up like that in a natural cloud system. And it looks like we have an arrowhead over here. Hold on one more moment, sorry. Okay. Sorry, I do one take and run the show straight through, so I just sometimes have voice issues if I click out a second. Okay, so we got a arrowhead thing up here, and then we have something pushing up off of it. It looks like this little puff. So again, you're not going to have anything going off, level and then going, vertically perpendicular to it in a natural cloud system. You're just not. This looks like also like a standalone shape of some type of craft, and something going on in here too. Probably something happening all in this dark mass as well. And as I, showed before, there was something happening at the bottom of this thing, and that looks evident down here as well. Okay, so we're going to zoom in again, and look at this thing clinging to the top and like curving over whatever this dark mass is. So there's definitely some type of activity happening in here. And then, I don't get it too much more. It's a little grainy because it was far away, and my camera can only do so much. But, again, we see evidence of, this semicircular curve at the bottom. It says its own color signature, orange, gold. And then we get into indigos and raspberry colors up here. So what the heck is going on? Let me know if you have any interesting angles to this in the comment section below. It can be based in reason and logic, or just be purely fun and fantastical in the cloud play vein of things. But let me know if you like. If not, no big deal. All right, I'm zooming in, actually, sorry, going in one more time, I think in here somewhere. So now I'm going to change the enhancement to lighten up and find out what's going on in this area where I have D.3. And I get these two forms, which become very interesting. So they have almost like a fish-like appearance, like a pointed ellipse, elongated. And again, it shows me a different color signature says something else is going on in here. So I think we've got, two other craft at least cloaking in there as well. Now we're going to look again southeast, just, getting a little more elongated, more expansive view toward the south, toward B. And this is just what I'm pulling out a little bit more. Again, we get the different color signatures popping up with the red pinks amidst a sea of indigos and purples and then golds down here. And something white, is popping out in here. So again, something very different is also happening down here as well. So is this one overall craft with some light kit or something happening down here? Or is this multiple things hiding all over the place? I tend to think a little combination of both. Okay, now I'm keeping the left the same, the original, the right. I'm just enhancing in yet another way, just to try to really exaggerate it and see what's going on. And we do get this bigger burst of red-pink signature, and then the really, gold below. So, and then we get white popping up here. So again, just so much activity and energy signatures and color signatures are going on all over the place. I'm saying cloak and craft. Okay, another view. Again, just trying to zoom in and look at what is going on. And then here's what we get. So no matter, any way you slice it, when I've looked at this thing, morphing and changing activity is happening in here with different color signatures. And again, we're looking southeast, so sunrise is happening, a little more this way. Regardless, we've got a different kind of gold happening here, while it's like pale, yellow, white down here, with other little color signatures mixed in. And then we've got these weird shapes, moving at weird angles in the sky. Again, calling it cloak and craft. And then with some more enhancement, this is one of the alternate cover slides, we can just see there's obviously something going on right here that is not going on like, the rest of the sky. So make of that what you will, but I clearly see a form going this way, one this way, and then also maybe one this way, or it's part of this thing. See what you think, though. Okay, still looking southeast. I guess I couldn't get enough of this scene, really, because it kept morphing and changing. Things were revealing. So here was that bright spot, now still, very much present. So that's its own light source. That's its own energy source. That's not a part of whatever's going on with the rising, quote-unquote, sun. And then we got different color signatures happening all over the place. This looks like a triangle. Got a hard line here. I think we got a triangle cloaking and back in here. See what else you can find. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this scene. All right, same thing down here. So we're still looking southeast, and things start to move and shift and reveal more and more. So now look at this break in the line. It's like a straight etched line, like somebody took a tool and incised it through the clouds. We've got a elongated pointed ellipse. We've got interesting structure and patterning happening down here. Now look at this with the color signatures. Come on, we've got this bright burst of white happening mysteriously at 8.1. I think this is a standalone craft up here where it's all fuzzy but with a hard edge with shadow to it. See what you think. Got a triangular form here in dark shadow. Something weird happening here. Also clearly here in dark shadow. Looks like two objects maybe side by side, or one overall craft that has that shape. And then we've got, the raspberries, the red pink again, its own signature. And yet then we have gold down below. What's going on? With indigo interlaced here. And this white line, brighter white coming down through here. Very clear, very clean, very precise, very engineered, I'm going to say. So once again, I'm calling this cloak and craft all over the place, including at D.1. We got something here emerging that looks like it's very rigid. See what you think is going on. All right, we're going to zoom in on this element because it's very intriguing to me. And once again, we get the backlighting on some of these other forms happening up here. And this is definitely, standalone object, any way you slice it. I think this is even like a trail of it, like zooming in over toward the, heading from, let's see, where would this be heading toward the west. Okay, this is a little bit of a panorama. The north is to the right, north is to the right, east is to the left. And again, we just get this darker mass, strange things happening all over the place. Keep in mind, this is toward the east where my cursor is at 8.1. And we got this burst of red pink over here, and even purples. And then we go all the way over to the north, and we're getting it too, looking maybe toward the west. So look at this, variety. Something is definitely going on, in addition to the staccato cloud effect, which again is just not natural in any cloud system of decades past on this planet. All right, now we're going to look to the west-northwest. Again, just felt strange. This is why. Now this gets really fun, okay? We've got two faces in one. First face, and I'm going to say, okay, it could be a case of pareidolia, where you kind of see faces and things, like you could look down at a pancake, and depending on how it was cooked, you might see two eyes and a nose, that type of thing. So I think we've got that going on here. So just for fun, I actually see two faces and one over here at A1 and B1, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But in the meantime, look at this pure burst of something going on, red pink at C.1 and all the weird texture. So something is being obscured here and covered up by this patterning, okay? In the meantime, something is diving down this darker shadow. Look, it has a straight line more or less coming down here. What is this thing? Had a very translucent quality, very interdimensional. And I see a woman, so we'll see if you see what I see. I overlay this with sketch tools to maybe help. Hopefully the more beautiful art original is here in nature itself. But I see a woman with beautiful big pouty lips and two eyes kind of squinting, and that's like above, and her nose line would be coming down here. Her head and hair would be up here. If you don't see it clearly, I'm going to try to help out over here. So here's on the left. First is the one woman face I see with the big lips, beautiful pouty lips, hairstyle, and her eyes, maybe a little bit squinting. So again, the original is much more beautiful. If you can see what I'm seeing, it's much better done in nature. This is just my crude way to try to indicate what I'm seeing. But then there's also another face. So with different enhancement in that same area where we were looking, if you can retrain your eyes now, focus on 8.2, I see a woman's face, almost like photographic style, muted and grainy, on angle, where this is the tip of her nose, these are her lips, and that's like her one eye shut. And this would be her right hand kind of like, almost like curled up and pulling covers up to her chin. Okay, that's what I see, if that makes sense. And then here we go to the right hand side. That's what I'm seeing. So you just kind of see a little glimpse of her. That's, again, my little crude way of trying to indicate what I'm seeing. But if you look long enough, I think you can see it. Anyway, let me go back one. And so I'm also focusing down here too. Look at, again, different color, bursts of color, energies, and signatures happening in the scene. All right, now we're going to still look west-northwest, more cloud and quotes activity. I'm looking at these kind of streaks moving through at different angles. And so here's what I see with enhancement, and that's some type of structure, some type of pointed ellipse. It's got a concentric curve that's following this one, very cleanly. And I think we're just seeing the bottom of something that's maybe bigger and more expansive above. But look at all the different color signatures, see what you see in here. This gets very interesting. I started seeing this break in the clouds right away, some type of structure with a triangular form to it with some rounded corners. So we're looking southeast in the morning still. And look at it, looks like this thing flew down from the upper left-hand corner, coming swooping down toward the center of the page here. Has its own different color signature on what the vapor trail would be, heading into this, raspberry and warmer orange rust-colored stuff. And so to me, that's definitely that movement, if you follow, is an object, and it looks like triangular in form to me. I don't know what's going on down here, but look at it, it's coming across straight, more or less level. So how do you have two totally different movements? Keep in mind, this is extremely low in the sky. You see where the trees are, and there was virtually like zero wind movement. So that's impossible. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. This has to be artificial means, something tech in origin, and I'm going to say ET in origin. I don't know if this is one of those like 3D craft that you could walk up and knock on it and touch it, or if it's something more interdimensional, or even some supernatural phenomenon, but see what you think. All right, this is interesting, north-northwest. Again, look at this crazy patterning in the sky. Isn't natural to this area. We look to the right, and again, we see now why, maybe a little bit. We get this huge burst of red, pink signature again. Have something that looks very triangular, very specific, straight edges at 8.1. I'm calling that a cloak and craft, or at least, I don't know, maybe it's just the background of another kind of elliptical craft happening here at B.1. Looks like a potato in shape, if you see what I'm seeing. Anyway, see what you find in this one. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on this all over the place. All right, and I also think of very interdimensional nature. There's stuff ghost-like happening over here at C.1 as well. All right, this one is looking south now, and this becomes part of the cover. So keep an eye on A down here at the bottom. That becomes the cover, which I almost missed, actually. I wasn't going to run enhancement on this part, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So let's look at B and C. Sorry, no. We're going to jump down to A first. Never mind. So I did, run enhancement again. Sometimes I have to take a photo, and depending on the lightness and darkness of the original, I have to enhance it one way and then run it another way to get at like what's going on up here, for example. But for right now, I enhanced it to get at what's going on down here at 8.1. And at first I just thought, okay, I know this is strict structure. There's something definitely going on of let's say artificial means created in the sky, because that does not happen in nature. Look at these sharp shadows, sharp lines. But I really caught so much more when I decided to enhance it one more time. But now we'll look up at B2 and C2. Because when I enhanced it the other way to get at what was going on in this darkness, look what popped up so cleanly at C.2. That is a shape with a sharp line And to me, that is a little craft sitting up there. Why do I say that? Well, especially when we zoom in on the one at A, and where there's one craft, there's usually another. Not always, but there tends to be at least one other, many others usually. So then I decided, hey, okay, if that's a craft up in here, which I clearly see it, that's no natural cloud, especially on this angle. It just looks like it's sitting idly parked there. Then what is really going on with this thing? So I decided to enhance it one more time. I'm so glad I did. And this became the cover slide. So look at this. This is clearly like a controlled deck. We got a clear hole or depression. It's sitting in the right place relative to the rest of this thing. I'm calling this the bow. Actually, up here is the bow. And down here, looks to me like the port side wing on the left side. So I'm saying another cloud in quotes cruiser because I have another standalone show with a cloud cruiser on the cover with a black a black background, and then the cruiser is white. And that one I caught, and it's just called cloud in quotes cruiser. I caught that one back on 4th of July this year. And that was where a cloud formation was sitting in the sky to the east, and it stayed in the same exact place for over 20 minutes, but started morphing into a weird ghosted outline into an actual cruiser. Now on that one, which I think is a very similar cruiser to this one in shape and form, if not identical, on that one, on the right-hand side of where this thing is, there's this perfect circle, and it even has an emblem on it. And I'm like asking the question, I don't know for sure, is it a shield? Is it a radar? Is it some kind of sensor? Is it a weapon? But it's a clear circle. So go look at that show if you're interested in this kind of thing. But it really reminds me of the same craft, the same shape and scale and everything. See what you see and hear further. I'm going to keep going. All right, so now still south-southeast now. I'm looking a little more southeast than south on that last one. And again, just some strangeness. The sky keeps, gradually in a span of minutes, keeps changing and revealing some very interesting things. So in this case, to the right, we get all this gold activity down here where the sun is supposedly coming up. Then it's pure white. So what's going on? And this looks like definitely like something cloaking in a very interesting way at 8.1. But see what you see. All right, still south-southeast. Oh, I'm sorry. This one, every so often I forget to update the directionals. So this is actually looking northwest. So anyway, this looks strange, so I move my attention over to the northwest, and we look to the right, and look at this. We got a clear cylindrical stick-like form going on one angle, and C.1 is a triangular form. And then we got the weird staccato cloud effect going on up here, so I know there's other craft hiding in here, and I'm going to leave it to you to see what other ones you can pick out and find in that scene. We're going to zoom in a little bit more so you see what I'm talking about. B.2 is a clear cylindrical form or stick-like form. You even see the cloaking materials of a different nature, different density, okay? Oh, and I didn't mention earlier for anybody newcomers, the cloaking material I'm going to refer to as plasma because it's just referring to something heavier and denser than just water vapor that can stick around in the atmosphere a long time and cloak things very well. That's just my go-to expression of it. What it really is, it could be something else, who knows. Can't go up and measure it, so until I can, that's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, weird objects happening here, these darker forms looming around in the background. See what you see. Okay, this gets really weird looking east. This is a really bizarre texture I haven't really seen in this area in decades. Just kind of this shallow, weird, almost felt like very filmy, very kind of gossamer-like patterning going on up in the sky, but clear sky imprint shapes happening. There's a point over here. A is like the clearest one. It's like a leaf shape or like elephant ear leaf shape or kind of weird teardrop or heart shape up here. So just thought it was very, very odd. And so with enhancement, we can see that kind of upside down or on its side heart shape. This is actually probably a bigger triangular form, to be honest. I'm not sure. Again, looking at some of these things, it's easy to get caught up in the details, but we also have to look at the bigger view because, like, I could be caught up here, but this could actually be one huge sphere, that type of thing. So, again, I'm just calling what I see on the fly as I narrate this on a laptop. But if you see other things that I missed, again, not intentional on my part, but do give me a shout. Let me know if I missed something really cool. All right, so anyway, we're going to keep looking at this. Nope, we're going to go to another scene. Here we go. Southeast. Toward 5 p.m. in the evening, and this just all looks strange. Not only the color signatures are a little all over the place, like it shouldn't just be this reddish rose color here and here. If anything, it would be across the board, and yet it's not. That's my first tip off something's going on. Also, these different, again, angles. This is coming straight. This is coming diving in at an angle. What the heck? And this is like got a what do I want to say? It's not a right angle, but it's close, and that doesn't happen with natural clouds. So this is why I say that with enhancement. Look at this. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 specific different points coming out of this thing. They look like little pipes, the ends of pipes, and that implies, and not implies, that says this whole thing is some kind of structure with intelligent design to it. No question. We got this weird thing too. Looks like a pipe extending out of this thing. Lots of strangeness going on in here. Not to mention what's going on back in here next to C.1, where we've got a sharp line. Again, looks like a cylindrical form diving on an angle here. We're going to zoom in one more time. It is going to be bitmappy and fuzzy, so if you're on a bigger screen, just squint your eyes to better see things. If you're looking at this on a handheld device, you're probably going to see it fine. But yeah, here we go. What is this? Kind of like almost like an anvil-shaped thing happening down here with some weird stuff coming off the top of it in a triangular form. Again, what's going on here? And why do we have a straight line here? And then it comes, straight down this way. A natural cloud does not bank and do that. And B.2, again, we got some straight lines, hard edges. I don't know what's going on over here, but see what else you can find in this scene. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. It's a white bird of paradise tree in Miami, Florida, blooming very beautifully. So I just want to say thanks for looking at some interesting things here a while, let's just say. It's the beginning of the week where I'm at, so if it's the same for you, I wish you a beautiful kickoff and start to the week. And regardless, just wishing you an absolutely gorgeous right now. And again, thank you for being here, meaning being here on this planet. And I so appreciate you. Wish you a gorgeous day. Sending you tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.